That how's it doing? So just with the talk for a second, people might have forgot about this, but the Irish Army did so in the Congo back in the 60s, in peacekeeping, and Ireland, was very, give Ireland big credit. Ireland has done a huge part on the world stage for helping other countries, warned own countries, and trying to help out, trying to help the world be happier, trying to save help as many people as they can, which is obviously very commendable. And I know I'm very fortunate to know some troops who served in the Congo who only were there. They did one on the major fire, but I'm very fortunate to know a few of them. And the brave men that served their country very very well over there. I'm sure everybody would take their hat off to every one of them who served their country extremely well, and I think it's forgotten about. Their sacrifices they made, and all, and this one, for example, the Siege of Trafalgar was a movie done on and everything. The United Nations abandoned the Irish Army. 155 soldiers, they abandoned them. They were obviously ganged up on by troops in the Congo, and 4,000 troops. You probably have seen Simple History on the video, and I'll leave a link in the description. The Irish Army, the 155 soldiers of the Irish Army hold off against 4,000 of them, with no help from any other country. No other country even went and helped the Irish Army. The add insult to injury. If you watch the video, it's 11-minute video. It was explained better, but I will explain just my own words. So they dropped in, supplies obviously from helicopters. They could have done a lot more. Let's be honest. They could have done a lot more. They had a lot more power. The United Kingdom, other countries had big aircrafts they could set over. 5 days. They hold out for 5 days. Not even one bothered to even go and help the Irish soldiers. And it goes back to this, and I keep saying it. It's not that the Irish Army, there are good leadership. The people who are in leadership in the Army, generals and lieutenants, as it shows in this video, there was a good lieutenant. And only for him, he led his soldiers through the thick and through the worst siege, probably in the Irish Army's history. And dug trenches and everything like that. Preparing, always being cautious and prepared for what could come. And that was something, that many armies, Belgium army, every other army in the country, in the Congo at the time didn't prepare for things. They were prepared in the army, in the Irish army. And them men are forgotten about. They're forgotten about by world history. And the reason why they're forgotten about, in my opinion, because they didn't expect. They were ambushed, and I think the United Nations wanted them to be killed. I might as well be honest with you, because there wasn't really much. Like, these people are national. You should be national heroes for what they've done. Their names should be very high up in Irish history, because they hold off for 5 days without nearly any food, and wasted every bit of ammunition in trying to kill every one of the people who were attacking them, and hold it out for 5 days. And then people, when they came home, and I remember this, my father even told me this, that they didn't talk about it in the papers, didn't say anything about it. The reason why, because the people said they were surrendered, and they were the cowards. That's what they called them back then. They were disgraced that they surrendered. And you know what? That's how now, and just that's a joke saying that they're disgraced. They fought to the last bullet they had. Like, they couldn't go out with guns and start battering them with the guns, if you know what I'm saying. But they did. They fought until they could fight no more. As it says in the national anthem, they fought until they could fight no more. And they couldn't fight anymore. They had no bullets. They had no water. They had no supplies. The reason why too, and going back to the helicopter, probably said it a second ago. They brought in supplies, they brought in water and supplies, water and food in gas calendars, which obviously, I think it was water, it was just water, and it was in a gas calendar. And obviously that had the taste of gasoline in it, and the water would have been toxic to drink. So they didn't, they could have done a lot more, let's be honest. They could have done a lot more. If that was any other country, I think they would have busted themselves to do something. But, them men and them 105 men, along with every soldier who served in the Congo, I'm fortunate to know a few. Very good veterans, very in their 80s now, have served the country. They have served the country with high honour, and these men are forgotten about, and these men are forgotten about now and not talked about, and and the state does nothing for them. The state doesn't give them anything in return for their service. In being put into a foreign country that you could get shot at any moment. As these people are peacekeepers, they had nothing to do with any war or anything like that. They would help there to help the civilian population. And I'm sure everybody would say, it takes a brave man to go out there and to risk his life to go out and not knowing what you faced. Like, they didn't know what they could face. And these troops, should be national heroes. And, then it should be taught about in national school, and it should be taught about secondary school. Because I know there was not even one word about the Irish. I went through secondary school, unless the curriculum changed. But only for I know a lot about Irish history, about the defence forces, things like that. You never hear talking about the Congo. Like, it's more or less forgotten about because as I said, I don't think they wanted them to survive, the United Nations. But it really shows that the Irish will fight to the very end. Because they couldn't fight anymore, they had no bullets, they had nothing. And they lasted 5 days. Not many other armies, if that was probably the United Kingdom, Belgium, France, they probably would have threw their hands up straight away. Because they were far outnumbered, 155 to 484,000 of them. They were far outnumbered, but they stood the ground until they could fight no more. And I say to the people who keep saying, some people still to this day say, they shouldn't have surrendered. But, they fought until they could fight no more. I think they killed over 300 of the enemies, or maybe 400 if I'm right. But that's a lot, and only a few Irish wounded in that siege. I think it was only 5 Irish soldiers wounded, and none killed. So that just shows how trained and how well trained they were, and they should be remembered. We should remember them, for because they had families, and thankfully a lot of them. I think last time I checked, a lot of them are still alive. A good few of them are still alive. So fair play. Really, just my hat goes off to them. My hat goes off to them. I'm sure everybody would agree with me. Their sacrifice, they made there, because a lot of them, they must have been scared. Of course, they must have been scared. Having to face off against huge, 10 times the size of their regiment. But they stood their ground and they fought vigorously and they fought heroically. And people who say, they were coward and surrendered, they couldn't, they fought until they could fight no more. And I just want to put the record straight. That's what everybody in the 1916 Rising would have said too. They could fight no more. And that's really, they fought as long as they could. And no more with, that's all they could do. They use whatever they could to fight, and they ran out, and that's what I deem it. But yeah, thank you for watching, subscribe, and bye.